All right. Ready to play? Let's play. You just have a note page. You can just write it down on your note page, whatever it is that I'm going to talk about here. So, like I said, with each one of the lessons now that you go through the Revolution of Time courses, you'll have this visual note page prompt that will kind of help like prime the ideas of what that lesson is. So in the solar cycle course, that's pretty much what we're talking about today, is that we're starting that solar cycle course. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over the purpose. So this is kind of like our observation or our attunement. We're going to go over our purpose will be for the year. And we probably have already kind of developed that, right? Over the 6 moves and the New Year's resolution that we did. And then we're going to attune to winter. That will be the second lesson. So that will be the second note page that we go over, where we're just kind of grounding and initiating all of the dreams and visions that we're coming up with for our purpose. So these two things are going to kind of complement each other, right? So we know that the solar cycle is the long-term goal, and the lunar cycle is a mid-term goal, and the earth cycle is a short-term goal. So what we're doing is we're starting at the hierarchy of the long-term goal, and then as you go through things, you can start to break them down into smaller goals. And you already know that the quantifiable accomplishment, right? You want to talk about it a little bit? That we came up with. Are you familiar with it, Jacques? The idea of quantifiable accomplishment?
I don't know, not specifically.
Yeah, we in the updated courses, we kind of gave that as a term, another name for your purpose. It's something that's measurable. So at any point you go back, you can look at your purpose, i.e., or / quantifiable accomplishment, and be able to determine, yes, I did accomplish this goal. It's not vague, it's not a loose term, it's something that can be measured. And it's also really gives a sense of motivation, something a real target to aim towards in that purpose area.
And I think that we've already been doing it with the Earth cycle.
Yeah,
I mean that's the 6 moves that you're writing down, right? Like that's the like this is something that I know that when I achieve it, I'll say I feel the success. I know I've done it.
Yeah, I think we've just named it a different term, like quantifiable.
Okay,
that's the only thing.
So that people could understand that a purpose could be like your life purpose, but also could be something that is like a task or a goal. So this is basically what we're trying to cultivate, this energy of growth to cultivate that goal. So just right here, 3 things that might help you stay focused for this year, for this solar cycle. I put meditation and breath work. So every morning I do a meditation chant and I do breath work. So I know that that's something that's going to help me stay focused. Also passion, my passion for what my purpose is and my goals, I know that will help me stay focused. So the idea here, you're just kind of putting some things down. So if you ever get out of focus or out of center, you're going to be able to come back to this page and remember and recall why this matters. And so I also put my earth cycle would help me stay focused. What about you, Bodhi?
Well, I also put meditation, which you touched upon there, nutrition, and movement. And these 3 things are essential to keeping focus on whatever the task is. So whether it be my purpose or my goal, these are the things that are always going to be bring me back to center to help me realize
his health,
these things.
Really, like his health.
It's personal wellness, like you've talked about before, and like we saw from that Stutz documentary, that it all starts with our body. And to me, body is not just the physical body, but all of our energetic bodies as well. If that is in a good space, if that is in wellness, then really everything else is going to take care of itself.
Okay. So what'd you put? Since it's just us right now, we'll just go through and interact with it.
I put down consistency, meditation, and journaling.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like the earth cycle too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the earth cycle kind of like rolls all this into it. So, all the different.
So then I have this little note here about dedication. So dedication is one of the key words in like the quantum memoir theory and in the solar cycle, the revolution of time. So this word dedication, I noticed that dictation stands out. So this is like your dedication is the thing that you say you're going to do and you do it, right? You're dictating it. It's like a benediction to some degree. So there's these extra little thought bubbles here. If you wanted to fill them in, you could, just to, the idea of whatever dictation might be or dedication might be to you. But what will it take? What will it take for you to stay focused and accomplish this? I put disciplined, consistency, which is kind of like what you would put up here with your how to stay focused. So what it'll take for me to accomplish my purpose is disciplined consistency, which are kind of the same words, but like I really wanted to hit it home, right? What did you put?
I put desire and discipline.
Okay.
Similar reasons that you're talking about. But to me, the most important thing is the desire. Everything in my life that I've lost that dedication for or that want to do something is because I didn't want to do it anymore. So
Yep.
you gotta have those internal reasons why. And you know what? If those internal reasons don't check out anymore, then it's important to move on from it and not just like let it linger. And that's something I've been working.
So knowing what it will take is that sometimes you have to get rid of things.
Yeah, to find something different.
All right. What about you, Jacques?
But intentional traditions.
Intentional tradition, yes.
Yeah. Something that I want to do consistently, but put thought into it.
And intentional,
Right.
yeah, with intention.
Yeah, I like that. And I would say that like the opposite of that would be like, you know, if you enter these traditions without an intention, it just becomes this habitual thing that you might not even realize why you're doing it. Like a lot of people, celebrate certain holidays that way, and they're missing the point of being together for the holiday, and they get caught up in other things. So I think having that intention is huge.
Yeah.
Like to remember why you're doing something.
Okay, so then, let's go on to the skills needed. I don't know if you already have your purpose figured out, Jacques, but if you do, you could go ahead and fill it into your sphere. I already have mine, so I already kind of know what my skills that I would need to do this. But if you know that there's like some just general skills that you would need, you could go ahead and list them down, or you could kind of wait for this part until you really are clear on your purpose, right? So do you have your New Year's resolution notes from before handy?
I do. Yeah, I have those here.
So you kind of have the purpose that you were working on there. So you might be able to look at that and kind of decide what skills you would need. For me, when we first did the New Year's resolution in the last collective study, I put Molly Muse as my purpose because I realized that I needed to like develop this character and what she'll be doing with, professional success and stuff like that in the new year. But as the couple weeks that we've done since that meeting, I've been doing these notes and I've clarified it a bit more. And what it is to know Molly. So it's not specifically my purpose is Molly, but it's to really know who she is now. And especially as the creative director, since she was the muse before, which is very, imaginative, fantastical kind of job title. Creative director is much more practical and manageable in the matrix. So that's what to know Molly is, that I'm going to get to know this creative director, this professional in the matrix that is going to be in 2023. So my skills I have my, like I already have them. The creative art, the web design, the graphic design, the business administration, like I already have the skills that I need, but kind of laying them out for me to kind of get my bricks in a row is useful. What about you, Bodhi?
So these are sort of like internal skills that I have here.
Okay.
Confidence and willpower. And similar to what you said, these are things that I have been growing in myself, things that I do have and I have developed. But without it, without that confidence, without that willpower, it's inhibiting. It's holding me back from whatever,
all the other skills.
Yeah, anything else that I would need, it all stems from that. Because I do believe with those two traits, I guess, confidence, willpower, I can do anything. And those are the only two things that I feel from anything that I've wanted to do in my life. Those two aspects have been the reasons, the challenges to holding me back. My confidence and my willpower, or again, that desire to want to do something.
All right. What about you, Jacques? Do you have any skills that that you might need for the new year, regardless of what your purpose is?
I think one of the biggest ones, touched on it last year, but I want to come back to it, is just emotional intelligence.
I need that too. I'm going to add that to mine.
Me too.
I don't know. I'll have to keep thinking about these.
Yeah.
I know
You can
that one.
obviously come back to it.
Yeah.
And then you could print this, from the solar cycle course also and play with it yourself. So now let's go over here onto this other side of the page. This is a little bit more about the seasons and the seasons as a whole, like all of the seasons, not one in particular. So when we're going to explore the seasons, we're recognizing it's because there's a growth cycle of them. So I just put this little thing, what is biomimicry? Because I figure a lot of people probably don't know what it is, so I want them to go and look it up. So there's a little spot here of what is biomimicry to you? Because we're going to use the seasons throughout the year to help us pace ourselves with our goals. So write down, what is your favorite season and why? And what is your least favorite season and why? My perception is that this might help you identify, like the big picture of what you're going to be approaching your year for. That season that you love, there might be something specific that will help you in that. And the season that you don't love, there might be a lesson that will help you accomplish your purpose as well. So just kind of realizing like your relationship to the different seasons. Because when you have a difficult relationship with a person, then it's hard to make something grow from that. So if you have a difficult relationship with a season, you might have a difficult time growing your purpose through that season. So just kind of getting yourself aware of this before we get to those places in time. For me, I put my favorite season is spring, and that's because things start warming up. And my least favorite season is winter, and that's because it's cold. So like this temperature thing really affects my psychology, my physical movements, and all of this stuff. So it really will make me do certain activities in different seasons, right? So like winter, because it's cold and I live in a cold climate, I'm probably going to be more studying and inward directed, where somebody in a tropical area might be more outward in that season, right? So that's what I put. What'd you put, Bodhi?
I put, for my favorite season is fall. That's because of the temperature. I like the temperature at that time. I like wearing sweatshirts. I like being able to go outside and walk. I used to think, fall has always been kind of one of my favorite seasons. And I used to think it was because it was like the start of soccer season for me as a coach and when I was a player and all that. And that was true. But obviously I haven't been doing that for a while, and I still feel I really enjoy fall. For those reasons, I guess, and being out here in nature.
It's temperature again.
And the temperature's the key for me, so, and the colors, being able to go outside without just like melting. It's good. Because I'm always pretty hot.
So summer's your least favorite.
Well, summer is my least favorite, which like I hadn't realized that. If you would have asked me that, I probably would just on the fly. I would have probably responded that summer's my favorite season. Until I actually really thought about it, I'm like, you know what? It's not. And again, it used to be maybe my favorite because when I was teaching and coaching,
makes sense.
I had off for about a month and a half in the summer before I started back up again. So I would think that was my favorite time. But like, what did I really spend that time doing? Like, if for most of the time staying indoors in the air conditioner, like away from everything. So it's like not even experiencing the summer. Yeah, maybe go in the water once in a while.
Yeah.
So summer turns out to be my least favorite. It's kind of a hot take there.
And what about you, Jock? How do you identify with the seasons?
I think I hadn't really thought about this before. I think initially, like knee jerk, I would say that winter is my least favorite just because of the cold. But now I'm starting to like winter more just because it's kind of like an excuse not to have to do anything.
The opportunity. I know. I'm starting to take that in as well. Yeah. I agree.
So really what I had for my favorite season was summer, just because of the action taken. It just feels like higher energy.
Yeah, higher energy, yeah.
And then like for least favorite, again, I would normally do winter, but I think spring might be if I need to choose one. I like all the seasons, but if I need to choose one, because spring is more like the anticipation of summer coming. Like it's warm a little bit and it gets cold again. It's like,
yeah.
So I think summer for action and spring for anticipation.
For course. Yeah.
I like
So
that.
I really, what you're identifying with spring, the anticipation
Wow.
is where I feel like it's where that sprout is wanting to burst through the edge, that topsoil, and it has
Mhm.
all of that energy that, like, I feel it every spring.
Yeah.
I think that's just a great concept came into my mind that we could add to this note page. It's like kind of like your word to describe each of the seasons.
Okay.
Mm.
Like it's saying like spring would be anticipation.
Okay. So
Summer
let's
could
do
be
this
action.
right
you
here.
know, winter could
We
be
have
whatever.
seasonal activities.
Uh-huh.
Seasonal activities that I enjoy.
Okay.
So we have winter, spring, summer, and fall just kind of listed out here.
Mhm.
So the idea was that, like, kind of what Bodhi's saying is
Right.
like, what are you identifying winter as? What are the activities that you enjoy in that time? Because these activities might play into the energy of what you're doing to fulfill your purpose. So this goes together. That's why it's around the center sphere here, purpose. And then down here in this lower left-hand corner, it's the pace of the seasons, the noticeable changes, the notable changes. I notice these changes throughout the year. So when the seasons are changing, there's those transition times. What is most noticeable to you? Obviously, like fall, you start to see the leaves turn brown. Winter, you might start to see snowfall. For me, it was temperature, like I said earlier. That is the most noticeable experience that I have through the transitions of the seasons. And even if you're in a city, you're still going to get that, regardless if you're in the city or in the woods. That temperature is always going to be like that. What'd you put?
Besides temperature, I put the movement of the sunrise and sunset, because
Of course.
we're fortunate enough to see both the sunrise and the sunset from our property, and that is not really something that I ever paid attention to, like in the city, like before, like
I think it's also difficult because of the
well,
buildings.
that's
and
why.
stuff
So
to
I just
see,
never really even paid attention to it, but now it's definitely evident. So I could tell, during the different seasons where the sun's coming from and out from.
Okay. What about you, Jacques? How do you?
What was the last prompt there? Seasonal
I
activity and what?
I noticed these changes throughout the year. So, like, the most apparent changes, the transition points of the seasons. Bodhi's saying that he notices like how in the summer the sun's rising in one spot, but in the winter it's in a completely different spot, and then the same for the setting, right? Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a very good one.
I think I always notice it's the leaves.
The leaves.
Yeah, because it's always I always get really excited in, again, like the spring, just like seeing the initial buds just coming out of the trees, and then it just seems like at one point in the summer there's just an explosion and all the leaves are just fully out. It seems like there's no real like gradient there. It's just like getting started, and then
you just wake up one morning and then all the leaves are out there.
Yeah,
and they have such a beautiful green in that moment. It's like a lime green, because it's like new to the sun. It's not like burnt up by the sun yet. Those fresh spring leaves are nice. I agree.
And then even in the winter, I love walking around and just like looking at the trees, because they just all look like brains to me. And it's I like looking at the trees all seasons.
Yeah, I agree. So let's go over to the reminder. So the reminder is, why does my purpose matter? So let's go ahead and let's dive into your purpose a little bit more now, Jacques.
Okay.
It's just us working on this call. What did you have as your purpose from before? What are you pulling forward from the other work that we've done?
From the resolution, I had like my story community core, just like these courses that I'll be creating.
Is that overarching everything that you would be doing for the year, or is that really just one project? Because it sounds like it's just one project, but I could be wrong.
I think it would be good for me to focus on the courses, just because everything touches on that. It's like every other on it. So like if I can create a course, then I can create like a schedule and a management practice around it. I can schedule, like I can brand it, I can market the course.
Okay.
I can turn and, you know, turn it into a graphic novel and all that. So, but I think it's like the kind of like the nitty gritty thing. It's kind of like the spring thing. I have to, there's a lot of anticipation, like, oh, let's just get the course out so I can do all these other fun things that are a little more active.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
Making sure I get that done.
So like everything is going to revolve around these courses. They're like your outlines of your business plans of all of the other things that are going to happen, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to stay with that as your purpose for now, or do you want to?
For now, I do. Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
All right. So you could go ahead and put that in your purpose if you want to. So this is like basically in this growth cycle that we're going to be doing this year, this is the path or the course that you're going to be taking to move the energy and focus towards that purpose. So like we have a course, which is the solar cycle course. You'll take that course and it'll be the path through the year. And that path will help you create your courses and your paths, right? Then we're starting to make lots of trails. So what did you put for why your purpose matters? Did you put anything? What did you get, Bodhi?
I put because I want to keep growing and evolving. So anytime, if for whatever reason I forget why I'm doing what I'm doing, like that's the essential reason, because I want to keep growing. I don't want to stay static.
Okay. So everything is about evolving. And I put the reason why my purpose matters is because it heals me and grows me also. That's why it matters.
I guess I would say that it's my path to consistent income, because I wanted to. That was my word for the year, was income.
Okay.
I want to be consistent, so I think that's why I want to focus on these courses.
All right. Since you brought that up, I actually put my word of the year up here, where it says 1 year, 12 months, the year of ... I put the year of money, and that was my word of the year. So there's a sync there. So what motivates you? This was a key question, because what I found over the talks is that I realized that money does not motivate me. I've known that for a long time. Free time motivates me, and my space not being like other people in it motivates me. So like having my space and time to myself very much motivates me. So that's what I'm working for, you know, towards, versus money. The money will follow that part. What did you put, Bodhi?
I put my sovereignty and liberation to do what I want. So pretty similar to what you're saying, I think.
Yeah.
You know, those words have been coming up a lot for us. I think we've been consuming sovereignty, liberation, and basically I want to be able to, what motivates me is to be able to do what I want, when I want, and how I want to, without checking in. Basically,
No outside authority.
no outside authority but myself.
So then what motivates you, John?
I would say, similar to sovereignty, just agency. I want to have just free agency over what I do. Travel, illustration, freedom, multiple words. Yeah.
Okay. So then what goes along with this idea is like, what is your life theme? So for me, my life theme has been always about self-development and moving. My dad was in the military, so I moved every 4 years of my life. And then I moved even more than that after I was out of high school. So like moving has been a big part of my life, and also developing, because I had a rough childhood, a rough start. So once I was an adult, I was always obsessed with self-development. Like, what is the mind doing? Why is it doing that? So like these have been my life themes, and I could very much see how I could use those skills to, you know, help my purpose and my goals. What about you?
I wrote for my theme, overcoming adversity and expectations, and that's like a double-edged sword there, because Molly, you know, like for me, growing up, like as a soccer player, I always had adversity, being shorter and all that as a goalkeeper, but I used that as motivation to help drive me and overcome. And then I carried that into teaching and coaching and all of that. That's sort of like, I guess, the negative expectations that others saw in me. I was able to use that as motivation to overcome it and prove myself. But on the flip side of that also comes this concept of when I was younger, growing up, my family calling me the prince, right? Because I don't know, maybe I was a little spoiled by my parents, or like I had
and
the
they were
soccer
Jewish,
thing,
so the Jewish prince.
you know, and I was the youngest, and
baby.
so like, you know, and I exhibited talent in soccer and all that. So there's like this jealousy thing with some of my, you know, my relatives and all that. But so almost being like spoiled to that point caused expectation and adversity that I had to overcome, because then as I got older, my relatives didn't think I could do anything.
You weren't so cute anymore.
Right, that I couldn't do anything
yourself.
for myself or something like that, and I had to prove that
they
like
made you that way.
that I can do things by myself. I don't need people holding my hand all the time. So where it sort of helped me, it became a hindrance as well.
All right. What about you, Jacques?
I think exploration has been a life theme for me since I was a kid. Like
Exploration.
Even when I was a kid, that's just like in nature, always trying new projects and just seeing what I could do. And then also self-study, like teaching myself new things. And I've been equating that to like this new like internal tuition. So like intuition in a sense.
Yeah, I like that term that you're using.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess even that still aligns with exploration, which I was named after Jacques-Yves Cousteau. So I think that it makes sense there for exploration.
Cousteau, all right, the explorer. You're the cosmonaut, the psychic explorer.
Yeah.
Well, right. All right, and then so the last question that I have on here, they're kind of together, is what is your greatest lesson from last year? Because you know, the year it's a leftover from the previous year, and then it's, you know, going into the next the one ahead of us. Is we're going to be taking something from the last year and using it as a lesson, as that refinement. What are we carrying forward? So my greatest lesson from last year was my attitude around money. And it more so like what I most recently realized is that, okay, for years I've realized that I don't plan on getting dollars from the individual for Quantum Memoir. I've always had the concept that I have to build a marketing brand thing, and then a large company is going to be supplying us the resources that we can bring it out to the individuals. So I realized, like, I have a pretty shitty attitude about companies and organizations that have lots of money, but yet I'm expecting them to give me money. That's not aligning up. When I'm having a poor attitude about commerce, you know, about that world of money. So my change of my attitude, my mindset around not looking at organizations that are successful in making money and selling as something negative, specifically, like innately, like I have to be a bit more discerning about that so that I can go ahead and have that money flow through my organization also, you know? So I'm really trying to get my mindset around companies that make tons of money, that they're not bad and evil. So this is a mindset thing, a lesson that I've learned. And then how I'll apply it this year is that I'm going to be able to generate income flow for myself and other people with this new mindset. So what is your greatest lesson from last year?
Responsibility and maturity.
Okay. And then how can you apply it this year?
Well, I'm working to be my own boss like 100% of the time, you know? And I definitely learned lessons in how to do that from my current work experience.
There you go. So then when you're ready to shop.
I think that something that I definitely worked on this year was just like my commitment to clarity and communication. I think going into the year, I was a little nervous because I was trying to present the overall idea of what I'm working on to multiple people. And I wasn't like, in the past, I have worked on something and then my ideas have changed. So I stopped working with people like midstream. So I think this year I really wanted to like start working with a few people, work through the ideas and iterate while staying committed to like working through the process with them, which I feel like that I've stuck to. Yeah, I want to continue to improve my communication and my clarity into next year. So I think that's a skill that I'll add.
Follow it through. It sounds like you went ahead, instead of saying, "Oh, this isn't working," and ending it. You went ahead and said, "Well, where is this taking me?" And you saw it through, right?
Yeah.
And so then, how can you apply this year, this lesson, this realization?
I think just dive in deeper into it, just use that to support like emotional intelligence and relationships and things like that. Okay. For the next year.
So then now this note page that we have, or the note page that you have, this will go with your solar cycle template. So then with your solar cycle template, we just did the purpose. So then you could put your purpose in the purpose sphere now that we've worked through that worksheet, that activity sheet. Now let's move on to the winter attunement. So the winter is the ground and initiate sphere, just like we have for the new moon, this area of the season of the map. This is kind of like our dark energy, our introspective energy that we're exploring. So I made this little worksheet. You can just make it on your note page. So winter is the initiation of your purpose. This is where initiate means to begin and get going. So now what we're doing in this time of winter is it's still a passive time. We're not really doing the goals yet, but we're getting them going. We're outlining them. We're beginning everything. It's basically, these are our seeds. So I know you've done the 6 moves, so you have some goals and ideas that you have. But after you would explore this visual note page, you would, and your purpose, you would fill in this list of the 6 most important goals that you have. I already filled mine in because I've already worked through this, right? But you might just go ahead and go through this worksheet and kind of cultivate ideas and then come back to this. You might go, do another like 6 moves or the New Year's resolution and come up with those 6 moves. But ultimately what we're trying to do in this winter season is to come up with 6 main things that we're going to be intending and activating in the early spring season. So right now we're just kind of brainstorming and dreaming these up. Along the lines of winter, we have this introspection. This is the theme of winter, to pause and reflect. So let's just write down some things that you can do to slow down and imagine. This is maybe a little bit of redundancy from the first page. If you have like meditation, I put breath work. This is how I can slow down, is if I do my breath work. I can also slow down if I have alone time. Might also speed up if I have alone time, but ideally having alone time would help give me that introspective, reflective time. What else? What do you got, Bodhi?
I have meditation, which I've broken down into zazen, sitting meditation, but also chanting and breath work, walking in nature, writing and recording my stories and meditations, and planning and research or studying.
Studying, okay. Do you have any new ideas for it, Jacques?
Yeah, I put meditation down, also writing, visualizations, and designing. I think more than anything, I want to start making some of the ideas and concepts I'm working on more visual, whether it's through graphic design or illustration.
Okay, I like that. Designing, graphic design, all of that, it is a very meditative, it's like coding a website. You get really like locked into the zone, right? So these are, I guess, things that will kind of put you in the zone, slow you down so that you can get into that imaginative dream state. And then that's where you're going to come up with these goals and these moves, these things that are going to help you accomplish your purpose for the year. So basically what we're doing is we're coming up with our seeds. We're trying to figure out what kind of seeds we have. And in order to do so, you have to reflect on yourself, because you're the one that is, going to come up with the seeds, plant the seeds, cultivate them, and harvest. So the first question I would think is, are my basic needs being met? Because we have the ground sphere. This is about safety and security. This is the root chakra. So in winter, this is your foundation of your entire year. Are your needs currently being met? And which of these goals might solve that? So like before you have goals of like perhaps, I want a fancy new iPad or something like that. You want to have the goals of your basic needs being met, that you have food, water, shelter, companionship. And not everybody has those things. So I think it's important that we always all kind of explore them and realize that. And so then the next little prompt here would be, how do I feel about me? And so it says, write a little love note to yourself. It could just be a little sentence or something like that. But how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about yourself, Bodhi?
I love the courageous person that I have become. For all the reasons you may know about Molly, but like little things like back in our apartment living days, I always say this story, but how I would I'd be scared to like answer the door or even call like for a pizza. Like I didn't want to talk to anyone or see anyone that I hadn't already had a rapport with or knew the protocol. So it would inhibit me from things really a lot.
So you
so
feel
I
good
love
about
that
yourself
now. I'll talk to the random person in the checkout line if they start up a conversation. I literally, if that would have happened before, I would have probably like just walked away from the person. Like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you. But now, hey, all right, I guess this is what's happening. So let's see it through.
I don't think I actually wrote a very good love note to myself. I just wrote, I love all of me.
I think that's a wonderful love.
I love all of me.
Yeah.
Like even the things that other people might not like, and sometimes I'm annoyed by myself. I still love them. What about you?
I just put, first thing that came to mind was that I love my imagination.
Your imagination?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is
I love all of me. Especially my imagination.
Yeah.
That's great. So gratitude. I am grateful for, I put Bodhi and how far we've come. So it's like the grounding is the appreciation. The ground sphere is about appreciating what is right now. And so I'm grateful for him and how far we've come together. What did you get?
We didn't do this together, but similar. I put my loving partnership with Molly because it's more than just our intimate relationship. It's become this partnership in what we've been doing with our business and everything else in our life, really.
And you get to witness it.
Right. Awesome.
We're grateful for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think what I'm grateful for is family. And I think something that I want to make more apparent in my life is that like there's the family that I was like born into that I'm very grateful for, but also just like the family that I've like kind of design and build as I go through my life, which I mean you all are becoming very much a part of. So I appreciate everything. Everything that I get to learn from both of you, and yeah, I want more people to realize that we are all family here.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. The all part. Yeah. All of me. All right. So now let's inspiration. I am inspired to. So the ground, the winter, the initiation is like you're getting things going. So what are you inspired to? I'm inspired to draw my metaphysical studies. Like I can't wait to get all of this business organization stuff done so that I could get back to writing in the spheres and talking to people and showing and demonstrating. So like that's what I'm inspired to do is my art that's mixed with studying, right? Visual art. What about you, Bodhi?
To create quantum memoir theory courses, meditations, and fables.
Okay, so you're inspired to create.
To create.
I just put I'm inspired to create mixtape mythologies. So I think that's really the thing that stems out of everything. So I'll be focused on the courses, and maybe I should make that a little more clear, my purpose. But like the end result of everything, someone working through this is so that they'll have like what I call a mixtape mythology to represent their community.
So will the courses create the mixtape mythologies? Like those will be born out of the courses?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You got to get to the course, get through that part before you can do the artistic mixtape mythologies? Yeah,
because even so, the first course that you're working through right now, it's just like for defining the purpose, that's essentially defining like the setting of the mythology. So like the setting of the mythology is your organization. And then the teams that you create within that are like the main characters.
Okay.
So then it create like the schedule and the ground sphere and all of that. You're kind of creating your map that you're going to be going on your hero's journey. But then once you go through all those different steps, at the end you get to wrap it all into a creative story. So
okay.
yeah.
We'll definitely have to do like a 6 moves together, like your art and our art together as a 6 moves eventually. All right, so let's I'm gonna just skip over the actual 6 moves first. Let's just go down and look at these little visual note pages still. The foundation of me. So the idea with winter is that you're creating a strong foundation of your character, of your persona, the avatar that's going to go accomplish these goals and this purpose. So I feel like it's very imperative that in the ground and initiate sphere, you have a good foundation of who you are, how you feel about yourself, and the attitude that you have going forward. So the foundation of me, I put I am, and then for me, when I was going to fill this in, the word brilliant immediately popped up in my mind. Like it came out as if I was saying the sentence. And it's not necessarily a word I use a lot, so I really found it fascinating the way that it popped up in my mind. It felt very specific and wonderful, and it's brilliant, like it's light, like the sun. So I really like this word. I feel like it will be an affirmation for me for the year. I am brilliant. So it just says fill in the blank with your new mindset. What is your new mindset?
I am full of grit.
Ooh, I like it.
Same idea. That concept of grit popped in my head. That's something that you told me years ago, that you had seen the grit that you hadn't known that I had, and that stemmed from
because he was the prince. So when I saw that he had grit, I was like, oh.
Expectations and challenges that I've had to overcome. That people sometimes make an impression of me because of I'm nice or the way I look or whatever the reason is, that they don't realize that there's more to me than meets the eye. So like that grittiness is one thing. Like I like to look proper and neat and all, a certain way, but I'll get down and dirty too when I need to, and like that surprises people, I think.
So what is your I am statement here? Your new mindset?
I think sticking with the ground, I want to keep it practical for myself. So I just said that I'm a project design engineer. And I think that's like a tangible way to say that I want to be like, I was calling it like a microcosmic shaman or whatever for myself. But, or like a polymath is like a term that's thrown around more and more. But I think to make it for myself, for me to be grounded, I just want to say project design engineer. So like there can be some art aspect to it, but also understanding that I need to use my skills for planning and all that to make these more creative things a reality for myself.
Okay. I want to say I really like this because what I'm hearing a similarity like with my thing is that it's like that job title, right? Like that title is very clear. People can understand what it is. So it's like your matrix job title, and then the microcosmic shaman is the metaphysical job title kind of idea, right? Like I have music creative director.
Depends who you're talking to.
You have mystic.
Yeah.
Studies, right? So it's like, who are you? Oh, okay, well, this is what I do. I'm a shaman. You're that guy? Oh, I'm a project manager. Yeah. I like it.
Different ways of saying the same thing.
Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Dig it.
I also want to point out too that how Jacques was using it, like the I am statement, which obviously I think you've seen in the new course updates. That's the ground talk. I am this, and so this goes with that being the foundation. That's the way I see the ground initiate as sort of your foundation. So to throw that I am there, to associate that with that's the thing that's going to keep us grounded,
present.
Yeah.
Okay, so then now this one's a little bit different. What do I wish I could change? And as when I wrote it, I started writing. I wrote people. And I was like, oh, that sounds horrible. Like, I don't want to necessarily change people. But what I was trying to say was their will to live, like their relationship to their purpose. Like I want to change the people that are not happy and they want to be happy. I want to give them the way to change, right? That's really the only thing that I see that needs to change in the world is that people need the space and time to grow themselves. And they don't have that right now. So that's what I would like to change. And there's a follow-up question. What is stopping me and why? I put there's actually nothing stopping me because it matters, because I'm actually doing the thing. So I surprised myself when I wrote these questions and then went and answered them myself because there is nothing stopping. So what you put that too? Okay, fun. So what do you wish you could change?
I wish I could have financial freedom.
Okay. And what is stopping you?
Nothing is stopping me. It's within me to figure that out.
Okay.
So I don't see there's nothing in my way but
your mindset.
And I'm trying to get out of it.
Okay. So what did you put, Jacques?
I want to be able to change people's perspectives of our collective potential. And I would say like the thing that is stopping me is just like my own ego. So whatever those blocks may be. I know like I don't think there's anything external that's stopping me, but if I can get clear on what, because it's not manifested yet, so there's got to be something there that's keeping me from it. So like it'd be helpful if I had a website and if it was a little bit more clear in my messaging. So I think that's all. I want to just really dive into ego development. I guess that's just so much to put down as my goals for next year.
I think it's very interesting that we'd all come to that realization, though, that there's no one to blame. There's nothing external that's stopping us. And I don't think that for most people, or I don't know the numbers, but a lot of people that might not be so evident.
Yeah.
That I feel most of my interactions, people blame someone or something else, which may be a reason, but it's not the thing that's stopping them. It's like what we've come to. It's what our drive and our, what's inside of us that's really the thing.
Yeah, I can see that. If there were additional people on the call that weren't already doing self-study, they might answer that question, what is stopping me, with something like my kids or my husband or something like that, not realizing that then that's the choices that they're making that are causing that as well. All right, well, that's for another time. So what helps you feel safe and secure? Since we're talking about the ground, the initiation, like before we're heading out on our journey as the Fool this year, what do you have as an anchor that helps you feel safe and secure? And then, ultimately humans can't really be safe and secure because an asteroid can come hit our planet. We'd be gone like that. We might not even know. So like there is a degree to safety and security that you can actually obtain. Like a realistic degree of safety and security. So what is that for you? I put my home and my hermitage. So like, I know that like if I was out to travel the world, if I could at least come back here and recuperate, I would feel safe and secure. So like if I go out for the day, I feel much better when I come here. This is like my sanctuary. So I know that when I get out of balance, off center, I'll come back to this. What about you?
Similar. I mean, but you, Molly, the homeschooler, which is our bus, that's what it means. The bus is the homeschooler, and then the sacred woods, the hermitage, our property, you know, where we live. Because once upon a time when we were in the tiny house, I did not feel safe because we were renting space on somebody else's property that was not exactly okay with the town we were living in and with all the regulations. So like, we did feel like at any moment someone could come knock on the door and be like, you guys are out of here. Like you can't be living
You're not
here.
Living the code.
Right.
And
so
you're not allowed to be hippie pilgrims in New York.
Being here on our own property that we own, I mean, forgive me, I walk outside naked, you know, and just like walk around my property. Like, I don't care. Like I live here. You can't tell me anything, you know? And so that level of safety and security has been huge.
That's
So what about you?
I put my my mindset.
Wow.
But then also like just my family. I think I can get really caught up in being able to be self-sufficient, like plot me anywhere and I'll feel more or less safe and secure, or at least I can make it look like I'm safe and secure. But also I think like over the past few years, I've become a little bit more open and vulnerable to the fact that like a lot of the confidence and safety, security that I feel is from my family. How I was brought up. So wanting that it's not all internal.
If you know that at the end of the day, if you needed something, you could go to them and everything would be okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's nice. That's really wonderful because not everybody has that.
Yeah,
a lot
definitely
of people don't. So that makes me warm in the eyes. That's wonderful. Okay, so now we've gone through this like primer of the winter. So now let's look at the solar cycle thought form. You know, this will be the thought form that you refer to throughout the year. We set up our purpose now before the January 1st, before the new year, and then we've just attuned to winter. Okay, so we're going to fill in our ground and our initiate spheres. And then as each season goes through the year, we'll keep coming to each one of these rays or branches or fractals or arms, and we'll finish those seasons. But right now we're just going to do the winter one. So for the ground sphere, this is the seed. This is the fresh seed, this fresh start to your new year. So what seed are you planting for 2023? And you could just fill this in as a rough draft if you want to refine it later, you know. But just like right now, we're trying to figure out what is the seed that I'm planting. The seed that I'm planting is that I am the creative director in the matrix. Like, I still haven't decided what I want to call the world that I'm talking about when I point that way. But that is the seed that I'm planting, that I am the creative director of quantum memoir. I am the authority on the subject. This is what I'm appreciating, that I have the skills for. It's the thing that I have the passion and the desire for, and that I'm going to go forth with. Do you have yours, Cody?
I have a combination of those kind of thoughts. The 5 acre woods, hermitage, our home, and in that being able to work here as the quantum memoir theory director of studies.
Okay.
So my ground is like the literal space we live out on, and that's a reminder that this is the place for me to conduct my studies.
Your business. Okay. So the hermitage is the place where we study. It is the place where we work. So what about you, Jacques? That's okay. When you got it.
Yeah, I think I am a project design engineer for U3 agency.
Wow. So I see how like our conversation and what we were talking about with purpose and winter is like brought a couple different things together into one sentence there. That I am the project director,
Project design engineer.
And then you have your Q3 agency. I see how like alchemy, like you brought a couple different elements together into one statement as well, kind of like how you did.
Yeah.
So then the initiate sphere. So this is our yearning for change. So this is where the hero hears the call to go out on an adventure. So the call that I have is my professional success. You know, when I started out in my 20s to like start to have a career, I was a mom at the same time, and I was a single mom a lot of the time at the same time. So I was not focused on what my career was. I was just trying to fucking make money and pay the rent, you know, have food on the table. And so I never got to the point in my life, even once my daughter was grown, that I went to have my professional success, because that's when I thought, well, I'll just be a wife and I'll take care of his family and I don't need a business. Well, that didn't really work out for me either. So now I'm back to the idea that like, okay, I am going to have the professional success. This is my time to do that. I have the thing to do it with. So this is my my call and my yearn for change, is to have this professional success in 2023 as the creative director of my organization. What'd you put?
I put my voice and authorship to expand my platform, and that has to do with a lot of you know, my fables I've been writing, meditations, and you know, gonna be expanding to like Spotify as a literal platform, as an example, and just getting different groups of audience out there, I guess.
You're going to expand your story to more places and potentially create more passive income.
Correct. And then also within that too, just expanding, growing, you know, my styles, you know, like the Fool's Journey is an example. That was by far the longest story I've written and recorded, and to keep going down that route too.
Okay. I like it. Voice. So then what about you, Jacques? What's your initiate?
So I'm trying to think about it right now. I have an idea. Like, what was the prompt again? It was like a yearn for change.
Yearn for change. Yes. So this is the call. This is the thing. Like the hero is like, oh, I have to go do this thing. This is the call.
Yeah, I guess the fact that. Where did I write that down?
What did you put for I wish I could change on the winter notes? What do I
That's
wish?
what I'm looking.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at now. Yeah, like perspectives of our collective. I want to change people's perspectives of our collective potential. So do that.
I'm going to write that first.
I'm inspired to create mixtape mythologies, so I think that might be like my yearn for change.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because I think the mixtape mythologies will be the thing that helps people change their perspectives about our collective potential.
Our collective perspectives, is that what it was? The other statement?
Change their perspectives about our collective potential.
Potential.
Yeah. So yearn for change. I'll just say collaborative mixtape mythologies. I guess I'm just gonna say mixtape mythologies.
Yeah, because that's the end thing that you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
You're right. Like that's the result that you want to get to.
What's the consistent income through mixtape mythologies?
Excellent. So we could go through our 6 moves, but I don't really think that's necessary with the 3 of us. We've already kind of done that. And we're going to do this, you know, as we go into January, we're going to work on the 6 moves. So I would like to just kind of look at the big picture of what we've done. So then we all know, the 3 of us, we understand how this works. You have your purpose. This will be like your focused attention for the entire year. This center sphere, everything is going to revolve around that. We've just done our winter attunement, where we've come up with our ground and initiate sphere. In February, we'll have our early spring season, and we'll do the intend and the activate. In April, we'll do our observe and evaluate with the late spring. And then come June, we'll do a summer solstice attunement, where we do the connect and the elevate spheres. So each season we're going to go through, we'll have another one of those visual prompts that we fill out at the beginning of that season. We'll fill in those 2 spheres so that we have an idea of what we'll be encountering during that season. And then if you want to, you know, you can do the lunar cycle thought form so that you have that midterm goal that you can work on. And then you can break that goal down into the earth cycle thought form and work on it in a way that you can have that discipline consistency, you know. And then express and accelerate, that will be the early fall season. So in August, we'll do that. And then in October and November will be the late fall season. So in October, we'll explore those refine and integrate spheres, bringing us back down, you know, to a new December and a new cycle for the following year. So this is going to be something that stays blank until we get to those seasons, right? And then the other thing, I don't actually have the thought form for it, but there is the solar projection poster that I designed, which is 11 or 17 by 22. If you wanted to print it out at a print shop, your mom can even do it, where it's this, something like this blown up, and then you can do tarot, you can do some sort of divination, come up with energy that for each one of these, that will be your projection for the entire year, so that you kind of have an energetic roadmap. That's what Bodhi and I usually do, is we fill out that on the winter solstice. So on the winter solstice, that's what Bodhi and I will end up doing, is we'll fill in one of those solar projections. And so then this solar cycle, the course, will be working throughout the year. That projection poster we might have hung up so we can remind ourselves, and then we'll be working on the actual tasks, the goals, with the lunar cycle and the earth cycle as we proceed through this revolution of time. So do you have any questions?
No, I don't. This was great. So do you suggest people just do like the solar projection on their own?
Well,
or do
that's a good question. It's on a Wednesday. So we were thinking that we would go ahead and do another one of these live events, but I don't know if people could show up on a Wednesday. I guess the people that want to would.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do it on Wednesday ourselves. The solstice. We'll do a solar projection.
Yeah, I mean, even if I would definitely be interested, but also like if that's, I don't know, that could also just be like a ritual that the 2 of you do. I mean, maybe I could watch it after the fact or something like that. Just because it's helpful having, even if I wasn't here and you went through this where you said what you did, like how you responded, and then Bodhi, you say how you responded, it helps me like prime my own thoughts.
Okay.
So I think if you had like a run through like that, even if it's not an official webinar, I think it could be really helpful. Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to edit this webinar down so that it's like that instructional thing that will go with this. And so then, we'll do the same thing. We'll set ourselves up to do the solar projection. We're fine sharing that time with other people. So I'll go ahead and set it up. And then if you want to join it, you can.
So like now that I have this done for myself, like I have like this, what would you say is like the next thing that I should do with this? So is it kind of like now I just wait, or should I take notes on like how do I kind of put this into action until like we meet again, I guess?
Okay. So the most favorable thing that you could do if you really want to have that disciplined consistency, is that now that you know what your winter season would be like, you would go and sign up for the lunar cycle course or get the lunar cycle template. And then what you would do is these goals that we've come up with in your 6 moves that's on the winter attunement page, these 6 goals, you could take one of these goals and then you could add it to your lunar cycle and start exploring. You can put it in the purpose sphere and then use that month, that lunar cycle, to work towards that goal so that you can accomplish the solar cycle. So if you wanted to only do the solar cycle, what I would suggest is you're going to need note page. You're going to need blank paper so that you can just keep writing down the tasks and things that you want to do, so you can always look at this. If you were only doing the solar cycle, I would say you would probably want to look at this like at least once a week to remind yourself of these ideas. The most favorable thing to do with this is to make a lunar and an earth cycle, because those are the things that are going to help you create short-term goals and mid-term goals that will stack up to actually fulfilling this long-term goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you sign up for the lunar cycle live event that will be coming up shortly, I will go through one of these thought forms, these visual note pages, to help you do a new moon observation and help you come up with the purpose for your lunar cycle. And then I'll show you how you can relate that moon one to your solar cycle. So the best thing that you could do, Jacques, is just stay on the Quantum Memoir website, sign up for the live events, and then I'll just keep you in pace throughout the year.
Perfect.
Nice plug.
That's great. Thank you.
I want to add, I know you've been following along with the Earth cycle, but I actually just made some new changes. I don't know when the last time we looked at everything, but so now basically every inner seed word has a statement or a question that you're going to come up. So like the ground we know is I am, I can for intend, can I is observe, am I is a reflection opposite of the I am of the ground and connect. So it's an am I question. And for express is I do, and find is do I, and there's all the explanations of each, but that's kind of where I went with that. So each inner sphere word has one of these statements or questions.
Cool. I'm just today, since I'm doing Gregorian style, is my purpose.
Okay.
So I think you switched it in the middle of this week a little bit, and I jumped on board to that. So I'm excited to have a full one that has all of those.
You'll find it this week then.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right. Is there anything else that you might want to share?
I don't think so.
No. All right. That's it. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for hosting.
All right. So
all right.
we'll see you soon.
We'll see you.
Talk to you soon.
Later.